Evening folks, you can always tell when you're getting old when you make involuntary noises when you sit down, as I've been reliably informed by my branch secretary, and it's absolutely true. I apologise for masking a third of my modelling bench with my far too well invested belly, but hopefully you'll be able to see something of what I've been fiddling around with on the Desert Fellowship build. The first thing that I thought I'd kick off with, although it's not an official part of the build, as I've told Mike, is the Spitfire Mark 5B by Hasegawa. Quite an old kit, this one. Lovely actually in the markings of Major Levine. I just can't go wrong with a thumping great Vokes filter actually under the nose and a red spinner and a lovely desert scheme that can really stand quite a bit of weathering. It'd be good fun to do. Like I say, the rules for the FB that Mike actually laid down with Ken, I understand, was that you were not to have started any particular kit in order to qualify, and I thought, well, if I was going to do the Tamiya Spitfire behind that, as I had this one underway already with the cockpit partially done, it would make quite a good sort of tandem build, and particularly as I've been absolutely hopeless in the modelling shed just recently. In recent months, work has been absolutely frantic. It's only just recently, the last couple of weeks or so, that I think the old modelling mojo has decided to sort of return, and I've really realised that it's important to have some time to relax and really try and get back into this now, and so that's the intention. Right, I've taken a few still photos tonight just to supplement the ones that I initially put up on the thread, and I just thought I'd just talk through in a very similar fashion to the way Kev did just recently. Very excellent videos you put up, Kev, I've got to say. While I've done sort of one video before for a gap, I haven't actually done a proper modelling one, as it were. I'm going to have a bash at Windows Movie Maker. My eldest boy is going to give me some tips and help with actually how to turn out a proper video, but for the time being we're just going to do a basic edit on this one. This is my Hasegawa Mark 5 in 48 scale. I know I've put up a couple of pics of this already. I've actually made a few changes to the pictures since you last saw it. What I've done is just sort of roughly paint some oily steel actually in behind this area, just behind the pilot's door, because I understand from the reference photos that appear on the Spitfire site, they've got an absolutely immaculately restored Spit Mark 5B there on the site with about 30 or 40 photos, and they're absolutely tremendous. If you're building a Spitfire of any kind, you know, certainly up to at least a Mark 9, the 5 cockpit is pretty representative of how they were all through, I understand. So I just started to mimic one or two details I sort of picked up on those excellent reference photos. The actual kit itself would sort of have you build the tub that you can see here pretty much as a complete unit with the lower sidewalls actually in place, but you know, I've had my fingers burnt with that kind of system before, where it doesn't quite fit when you close the fuselage up around it. You've got gaps and all the rest of it, so I was kind of resigned to the fact that if I took the route that I did, that it still wouldn't be perfect, but it'd probably be better than if I went the way of the kit instructions. So what I did was actually, again on this side, roughly paint the aluminium in behind. Was actually stick the sidewalls actually directly onto the fuselage halves, so that I can get, you know, kind of best fit. And it's not perfect, but it's going to be fine once the cockpit's closed up. It'll be absolutely fine. The only addition on this side since the last update is the oxygen bottle that sits in behind the pilot's armoured bulkhead, and that was a bit of a naff fit really. It was just a little pin on the side that was very shallow fit, very insecure and what have you, so all I did was actually drilled a hole straight through the fuselage through to the outside that would actually take a piece of plastic rod that could be embedded in the bottle itself, and then pass straight through the fuselage, pulled up tight, CA'd in place, and then the little nub was cut off, you know, as you obviously realise, and then just smooth sanded down, and that should just disappear pretty much straight away under the first coat of primer. That's the intention anyway. Right, I mean the actual main cockpit section's complete now. I was kind of looking at doing an out of the build box, you know, not really adding anything to it at all, just the belts in actual fact, but It was just a sort of small addition was actually made to this fella, because again, referring back to those great photographs on the Spitfire side, I've now got saved to my PC. The actual belts of the Sutton harness on the Spitfire apparently went through the head armour and the hole behind the pilot's head, and then sits in behind this area here in the immediate rear fuselage, and the actual belt stops about 2/3 halfway across the actual span there, and the rest is actually taken up with an attachment which consists of a couple of cables that hook up and go round what is actually the base of the aerial mast. So there's this little V structure actually at the back behind this crossbar that comes across the back of the rearmost bulkhead. So simple man, just get a couple of tiny bits of plastic rod in a sort of square section, and just produce that sort of V frame. Just made up a rough sort of representation that will sort of show vaguely once the cockpit's closed up for the actual mast itself, and then just CA'd some fishing line, the sort of £1/2 test stuff, the really light stuff that I tend to use for aerials. Was just sort of 2 sections just run back and then just CA'd in behind, snipped off, over painted, and that was it. And it does sort of really add something to it when you put it in the cockpit, and actually when you put it in the cockpit, try again, English, it's like a second language to me, foul is my first. When you actually put this into the fuselage, that's the technical term I was looking for, and close it up, it gives you you know, just something to look at in there, and just stops it being one big sort of vague empty space. So that's all good. It's all good as it goes. So we'll get that in there tomorrow and close up. Yeah, I mean, this is really, I suppose, a comment for Roy, who's actually building the same kit as me. I'm actually coming in on Roy's coattails, if truth be told. Roy, I was just going to say to you, mate, that I'm going to do this one, which is the non-qualifier, as a full span Spitfire, and the second one, which is the hopefully the one which will qualify me for my free shirt. And I will say to Mike that I'll happily pay the overseas transport for that, because I know obviously, you know, it's going to be unfair for you to pay overseas postage on that, so I'll cover that off, mate, provided I get this done, of course. That's a small detail. But Roy, I mean, I don't know which one you're going to do, mate. It don't matter if we duplicate, obviously, but just to let you know, all my inclinations have been to do A and V on the box art, but that's a full span Spitfire as well. And if I'm doing Levine's as a full span, I thought might as well do UFF on the side there, which is a clip wing, and just give it just a slight sort of variation. Plus, it's got the Abakur filter underneath the sort of. I think that was developed after the Vokes, so make both aircraft different. So we'll do that, both in desert scheme, but you know, subtle sort of outfit changes on those. Yeah, that's about it as it stands at the moment. If you're still awake, well done. And I'm hopefully going to get into the swing now of using video more in the way that Kev's been using it to illustrate what's been what's going on with the project as it moves along. Not sure we're going to start the Tamiya Spitfire. I think that'll sit there for a little while. We'll actually get the Hasegawa one up to speed first of all, and then once that's pretty much, I think, complete airframe, maybe coated up in primer, I'll start kicking into the Tamiya one. Nice to know that the FB that is running at the moment for the desert build is running for a year. I don't want that to sort of let me get into a sort of complacent sense where I think I've got loads of time in it before you know where it is. You know, 9 months down the line, you've got 3 months to go, and still not done. So I will crack on, and I'm going to really get my shoulder behind this one, and hopefully turn out a couple of decent aircraft anyway. Anyway, you guys take care. Nice to talk to you again, and speak to you soon. Bye.